everyone, welcome back to my channel. Sarah here for part 2 of this ink swatching video, which is from an incredible pen friend B who gave me so much ink. I'm going to split it over 3 videos. I thought maybe I could do it over 2, but then I rambled tons in my first video. So my first video, which I'll put up in the cards now, was all the limited edition ink samples she gave me. This video is a set of 6 inks she put together that fit the grunge aesthetic that I very much love, and she named that as my kind of the colors I vibe towards, closely followed by a color that's pretty hard to describe as an exact color, which also totally in my wheelhouse. So I am super excited for this swatching video because I'm pretty confident I'm going to fall in love with all 6 inks. She did write me out a little swatch sheet that I'll read the names off, but I won't show that so we can kind of discover the inks together. Haven't put any of these in the pen before. One of them I have, or 2 of them, sorry, I have looked at purchasing, but then the others I actually haven't heard of. So without further ado, normal stuff being used, and let's jump in because I am really excited. First up is an Ackerman ink, and it's part of the Dutch Masters line or series, and I actually have 3 of the Dutch Masters out of the 6, and oh god, pronunciations are going to be hard, but this is Dutch Masters Roosdale's Stomachtig Blauw. I got no idea. Why don't we just have a look? Oh, it looks so beautiful. It looks like a really deep, like purple black. I love it. Oh my god, I love it. It's like if a real, like, I'm going to go on a tangent here, but when you look at a lot of blue blacks, they can actually almost read a bit green. To me, this is almost like what you do if you actually had a real blue black and then chucked some purple in. Oh wow, that is gorgeous. What I'm thinking, does it remind me a little bit of Colorverse Proxima B, but a much like a purplier version. Let's see if I can find that in my little swatchy cards here. Oh yeah, this is a little bit lighter. Oh, but I love that. And I actually had Colorverse Proxima B as one I was going to ink up next month as I kind of go into dark blue blurple territory. But maybe this will take the cake. So just concentrate as I try and write it out and not misspell anything. Oh, that's so beautiful. If you know how to pronounce it correctly, can you let me know in the comments? Well, first ink swatch done, and it is gorgeous. Wow, it's just beautiful. With the fine nib, I mean, you could argue that it almost writes black, very, very dark purpley grey, but yeah, I would understand if people saw that as black, which I don't actually mind. But again, then you just think about the different types of pens you could put it in and then what you would see, you know, with that ink. I'll come back to that once it's fully dried. But next up is an ink that I actually had in a cart ready to purchase, and then B let me know that it was actually even on the way, which is Diamine Vivaldi, so from the music series. In the part one of this video, I was trying to like rinse out the syringe while I was talking, and it was a lot louder than I thought it was going to be, so there will be a little bit more editing in this video because I'm just going to wait till after I finish that swatch and then rinse it out so you don't kind of hear it in the background, and I think that'll be better. We've got 6, don't we? I think this is going to be, again, like a purpley grey type feel. Beautiful. Seeing how that's going to pull as I move the page around. I'm like, do it so you don't hear as much noise and then I clang everything. So this is a cooler purple. I don't know why I've done such a long pause there. It's a cooler purple. Where it's pooling, you get more of kind of the black coming through. Almost on the edge, you almost get like hints of grey. First off, it's kind of reminding me of Diamine Damson, which I really liked, but I found that to be quite, really depending on the pen, it was quite sensitive. It would be quite dry in some pens, so it'd be interesting to see if this one's different. But that's what it's reminding me of straight away. But I'm really interested to see like these dark bits here where it's pooling, that in a stub nib I think would be beautiful. And what's really interesting is as this one dries, this is just reading more and more blue, and especially now that we've put, I guess, a truer purple next to it, it just goes to show you kind of discover the different layers of the inks. So this is and just with the experience of the dip pen, it feels really nice. I had Diamine Damson in an extra fine lammy, I think, first, and it was just really, really scratchy. And then I put it in a fine nib, something else, and it worked a lot better. But that just on that wrote really nicely, and it dries. And again, depending on the light, it can look black in some, purple in others, or almost like a warm, really dark grey. Again, you know, which I love, but I love really, really dark inks, but that still do have a colour. And as it's pooling in the middle, that is such a rich, deep purple in the middle there. That's gorgeous, and it almost looks black along the edges, as does this one here. I almost wonder if that has like a black, is it a black sheen to it? There's something there, isn't there? Ah, amazing. I love this ink. This is beautiful. I've also realized that I just wrote Diamine. I didn't write music series there. I'm going to say that that's okay. So next up is another Dutch Masters, so Ackerman Dutch Masters. And looking through the vial, it's reading more burgundy in there. So this is Ackerman Dutch Masters Levens Cardinal Pars, P-A-O-R-S. No, P-A-A-R-S. Yeah, I'm just mispronouncing, but oh wow, can you see? Look at that. It's almost like a burgundy wine grape kind of color. Oh, gorgeous. And then I'm going to do the swatch and I'm like, oh, it's got color, but it's also dark, and I can see hints of, I'm just going to basically repeat myself for for all 6 swatches. And how cool is it that you can make these friends that I've never met B, and I, very likely probably never will. We don't live in the same state. We just started chatting, I think first over YouTube and then over Instagram. And oh my God, wow, that is amazing. That is really, really gorgeous. And I am literally going to repeat myself. I love that it's punchy, but it's also muted. I just love I think I like colors that it's almost like it's taken a token color. It's taken purple, but then almost made it like a bit dirty or a bit grungy, which is why B gave me that descriptive word. And this is what I mean. These inks for me are my happy place. I think that is so beautiful. But I got sidetracked. What was I saying? That's what I love about this community, that you can meet these people and form, these pen friend relationships to the point where, this pen friend actually created the perfect descriptive word for me for the types of ink I love and has curated this incredible happy mail. And actually it makes me think, in her letter, she actually wrote like an inky care package. And there's something about that because I'm taking it for a different meaning, but there is actually so much care in the inks that she's put together for me. And how incredible is that, that someone's put so much time and thought into something. And if we walked past each other on the street, we wouldn't know, that it was each other. That was a bad sentence, but you know what I mean? I just think I'm just continually floored by how incredible this community is, really. That is the end of my ramble. People are nice. I should stop filming these videos at night. The later it gets at night, the less coherent my rambling is. But no one's complained yet. There you go. That can be in the comment. Tell me what you'd prefer. Do you want Sarah ramble videos? Sarah ramble videos as she ink swatches? Or do you want some sort of like lo-fi, mellow beats, background music, and it can just be silent? Let me know. Because just want to make you happy. Oh, wow. So what's interesting about this one, it wrote beautifully, but where it's pooling, seeing if you can see, I'll try and bring it up closer. You can see where it hasn't completely dried, it's getting more like a warmth of like a pinky magenta, but then as it's like shading out, knocking the camera, it's going into like a purple. So I'm interested to see what happens there when it completely dries and how it reads, because there's just so many different shades of that pinky purple family in there. That's really gorgeous. And I've obviously used more ink today because it hasn't completely dried, so we'll do a proper close-up after. But what it's making me think of is, I was going to say this one, the Van Diemen's, but looking at them, it's actually different. So no, they're not similar. It's just so happened that for these three gone, it's made me think of this, made me think of that. That actually hasn't been a purposeful thing, but if you want it to be a purposeful thing and I can keep trying to give similar things, let me know. I'm concocting in my head a different way to do like an inky deep dive video. I'm just trying to think of the right ink to do it, but basically looking at one ink and similar ones around it and things like that. And hopefully film it this week and we can have a look at, I'm just trying to think of a cool way to do a deep dive into an ink. So if there's an ink that you'd like to see more of from this swatching video, let me know. All right, next up is a Noodler's ink, and it is Noodler's Catalpa. You can tell the higher I go, the less sure I am of how to pronounce the ink. Now this looks like just a really nice kind of foresty green, dark green in there. don't know if this means anything in terms of like the characteristics or build-up of an ink, but this one didn't like pool as a drop as much. It's like soaking into the page quite quickly. And I wonder if that means it's going to like feather more, or I'm not sure, but it's gorgeous. That is definitely a green. It's less foresty than I thought it was going to be. I mean, you could almost classify that as a green black. There are some blue blacks that can read like that. Very dark. It's actually not a super, it's a very dark green, but dark's the wrong word. I'm going to say it's a green black. And interestingly, when I said before that I wonder if it's going to feather, that is what it has done almost straight away. The ink, as the nib hits the page, feels thicker. That's the word I want to use, or maybe heavier. It's wetter, so you can feel it gliding, but it's not like a wet ink that feels super smooth. I can actually just really feel it on the page. And it's interesting that that's been my kind of trying to really describe a feeling, and that ink has feathered almost immediately. So there's something in the makeup. Oh, and I forgot to move my blotting paper, and look at that. It actually has bled through a bit there. There's something in the makeup of this ink that's making it soak into the page really quickly. Next up is Diamine Safari, which I think is kind of like a khaki green. This is one I have seen before, but it's just never made it to like wanting to get it bad enough. So let's have a look. Do you see what I mean when I was talking about how it pulls? That ink is staying on the surface there, whereas that one just soaked into the page straight away. Oh, wow. That's gorgeous. That's really beautiful. So that, I'm going to say that's like a khaki, but on the greener side. The yellows and the greens are coming through more than the browns. But I just know that when that dries, that pool is going to be beautiful. You can already see you're going to get some shading in with this ink if you have it in the right pen, I think. And I am going to pretty confidently say that even though the swatch may look on the lighter side, I reckon this is going to write really nicely. Just have a feeling. And yeah, I think that writes beautifully. It's dark enough. You can already see bits of shading in there, which I'm always impressed about when it's a fine nib. I think that writes incredibly. It's got character and color, but it's still dark enough. So, I mean, 5 out of 5 so far in terms of do I think they're amazing? Yes. Want to do a little bit more investigation with this one and why it just feathered so quickly. Maybe that's just how that ink is, but I literally could ink all of these up now. I'm going to do a close-up at the end, but I've just seen how this one's drying. Amazing. All right. Last but not least is the last Ackerman Dutch Masters. This is Ackerman Dutch Masters Halsud Brun. And it kind of looks like a light brown in there. Let's have a look. I forgot to do my cleaning, so with the magic of editing. All right, we're back. I've done my cleaning. Let's have a look at this one. Same thing again there. It hasn't just soaked into the page. Oh, wow. I said like a brown, but that is, it's almost like a mustard. Wow, I've never really seen an ink color like that before. Or like I haven't ever thought to kind of purchase one or explore it. I'm going to call that a yellowy mustard. Oh, I'm a bit of lost words how to describe it. That's really interesting. Yellowy mustard with, there's something in it making it dark. Maybe there are some browns in it. You can see along the edges here it's getting a bit dark. I almost wonder if you did chromatography, if there'd be a bit of green in it maybe. Just looking at these edges here. Let's do a writing sample. That's really, really, really intriguing. Just make sure I get my spelling right. So this is an example of an ink I would never ever choose, but I quite like that. It's weird, with the swatch I was hesitant to say that there was a warmth to it, but in the writing sample there is something there. It's almost like gold. So there's going to have to be, yeah, some, is there even like a hint of orange in there somewhere? Again, kind of like this one, I think. I thought maybe it would be a bit lighter, but I think that that's really legible. I can read that really clearly, and that's just with a bit of a dip pen, going through a proper feed and everything. I'm sure it would be even more legible. It actually just looks really nice on the page. A bit of a loss looking at these edges here. Look at that. That's a really cool ink, really interesting, and I just never would have chosen it. There's something quite, what's the word I want to use? I've lost it. Maybe it'll come to me by the end, because let's do a close-up. I'm not going to try and do these names again because you guys have probably had enough of me butchering, but I'll just say kind of the brand names. So first up is this Ackermans, and the three ones here are all from the Dutch Masters. It's really hard to catch up on camera, but where it is pooling, it definitely has like a black green sheen there. There you go, you're getting hints of it there. It has laid on quite thick there. I'm not really getting that in the writing sample, but that is a really deep, dark navy blue. But when it first went down, I actually thought it was purple, but it has definitely dried more to that blue. Really nice. Next up is Diamond from the music series Vivaldi. The thing that jumped out at me was that this reminded me of Diamond Damson, but this also has a bit of a black sheen, which I don't think Damson does. This is just a really lovely purple, and I am pretty confident you get some nice shading with that in the right pen. Next up is this other Ackerman, kind of like a dark, muted, dirty magenta, but you can see as it gets lighter, it gets to the pinks, and then as it gets into this pooling area, you're getting more of that purple brown, and even in that writing sample, there's some really nice shading there. I just think that is absolutely gorgeous. Moving on to this page is Noodler's ink Catalpa. This one's really interesting. I like the color. Like, I like the green. It's a dark green, but it did feather for me straight away. The ink felt quite thick, so I just want to do a little bit more research on that ink and just think about it. Maybe that's an ink I keep for lettering practice or letters, because it's just going to feather in the Stalogy, but maybe I can also try it in an extra fine or a drier pen. After that, we have Diamond Safari, which is a green, and you can see my fingerprints in there, which kind of sucks, but is what it is. I don't know what on the greener side of a khaki is, but that's what this is saying to me. Little bits of shading in the writing sample, which I always love. I love this ink. I really, really like green, and this is an interesting green for me. I think it's really cool. And last but not least, this Ackerman mustard, I'm going to call it. Bits of brown and green in there and yellow and orange around there. This ink for me symbolizes what I love about ink swatching, and especially ink swatching with people who you send happy mail to and from. I never would have chosen this ink, but putting it on the page, I really like it, and it's actually definitely one that I will ink up in a pen. So I've just discovered a whole different color, and I can't wait to get to know it. It's not that I haven't known about this color before, but in terms of actually using it and being creative with it and getting my thoughts out and reflecting and all of that stuff, which is what is so amazing about ink and what is so amazing about happy mail and ink swapping and all of that. So there you have it, guys. This is part 2 of my incredible inky care package from my pen friend B. This was the grunge list, so to speak. These are the colors and the types of colors that make me really, really happy. I can't pick a favorite. Maybe this one or 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 this one. If you do have a clear favorite, definitely let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear. And if you guys could like and subscribe, that would be awesome. Or also the last video, the last package from my pen friend, which is going to be part 3, is this one here. And as you'll see, there's even a pen in here. This is a lucky dip, and I thought we could do the swatches and then have a play with this pen. And what's super interesting, there's actually an unknown ink in here. So there's different layers of discovery with part 3, and I will chat to you guys then. See you later.